Hey guys, we're gonna get this thing started in just a moment. Want to make sure we give time for everybody to join in. I really appreciate everybody coming today. Friday afternoon, lunchtime. We're going to try and do this as quickly as we can so that everybody can get back to work. I know you're taking off a little bit of time today to watch this, and we understand that. We're going to try and go through things as quickly as possible to get you back to work. So today we're going to be talking today about FlexSoft, and this is being hosted by our friends at Total Ink Solutions. There we go. Got it. All right. Hey, Michael, are you out there? So we got Michael Savino from Total Ink Solutions. We want to try and bring him in, tell us a little bit about Total Ink. Can you hear us, Michael? We can't hear you.
There you go. I think you unmuted me now.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Michael Savino, Total Ink Solutions. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, so first off, before we jump in here and everything, I want to thank everybody else as well and stuff for joining us here today on the Forever Laser Bootcamp webinar. Like David said, I know it's hard to jump onto these things during the day, but I promise we're going to make this completely worth your while today. We're proud here at Total Ink Solutions to be working with David Lewis and his team to put on this amazing webinar. These guys have worked really hard to put this together, and from what we ran through the other day, it's definitely worth your time and stuff. So before we get started, I do have a couple of quick questions. I don't know if all of the participants here see the chat window on the right-hand side of their screen, but I was just curious, how many of you guys are currently Total Ink Solutions customers? Just raise your hand, comment. Let me just see if there's anybody that we're currently working with in here, or if everybody's new.
Checking on that, Michael. I do want to let everybody know that Michael is going to be watching the chat messages. So if you've got questions, feel free to bring them up. I know we have some questions that have already been sent in to us by email. We're going to try and get to those as we go along as well. So we want to try and get answers to everybody's questions as we get going. Okay, so
I see we got a couple in there and everything. And one other question: how many are new to the Forever product? Let's see, is this completely new to everybody? Or is anybody familiar with it? What's your experience like over here with the product line? New to me. Well, welcome. Hopefully this will be awesome. Another new one. Cool. Well, I hope this is going to be very beneficial to you guys. Like David said, I just want to run through real quick just a couple little brief points and stuff about Total Ink. We've been around since 2011. The company was founded by Louis Uribe, the owner and president of the company. We got our start in the industry as a screen printing ink manufacturer, quickly grew in that space to be one of the top brands. A couple of years ago, we got into the supply side of the industry as well as heat transfer. And now I'm proud to say that we're one of the largest screen printing and have one of the largest screen printing and vinyl showrooms on the East Coast, where we stock the entire product line of Forever. Before we turn this over to the guys, I do want to just quick note that for everybody that stays around for the entire webinar today, we are going to have a special discount for everybody that can be used on our website at www.totalinksolutions.com. So please definitely stick around for the entire webinar. We're going to have a really great show here today, and I'm excited to kind of work with you guys. And like David said, comment on the side here. I'm going to be monitoring the chat system. So please leave your questions there. I'm going to take notes, and then when we get to Q&A sections, I'll be relaying them to David so we can hopefully hit all your topics. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to turn this back over to David, and let's have some fun.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that. Hey, I'm David Lewis. I work with AW Specialty Paper. We're located here in Elk Grove Village. You can find us online at AW Papers. We're the master distributors for the Forever product line in the U.S. and really proud to be partnering with Michael to get those products out into the market. Another thing I want to give a shout out to is our friends out at the White Toner Success Group on Facebook. We really recommend that if you're into this industry at all, you should check out the White Toner group. We've got a lot of people that are joining this group on a regular basis. We're up over 2,700 members now. This number is really climbing quite fast. I know that several of you that are attending this have joined in from seeing the posting on the White Toner Success Group. If you are doing anything in laser print, this is a great place to get answers to your question. The folks there are eager to hear your thoughts, answer your questions. They're eager to show their success, and that's what this whole group is about being successful. And there's a lot of really good stuff that goes on in this group. I really can't say enough about it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Forever FlexSoft. The Forever folks have set up this website here, the blacktonertransfer.com. We're going to be referencing this a couple of times today because the FlexSoft is a product that's really designed to compete with vinyl, and the use of it is to do no cut, no weed by printing it with a laser printer. This really offers some amazing capabilities. Let's look at some of the benefits of this over vinyl. One of the things that we see is that customers are coming in today with some really complex designs. And if they walk into your shop and if you're doing vinyl, they bring this in, you want to try and convince them to do something else. And in today's market, people just don't want to do that. I mean, it's too easy to just swipe left and move on to the next shop. But on the other hand, if you're the guy that has this capability, not only can you do the work that they're looking for, this is an opportunity for you to upsell. Let's go with this neon color. Let's put it onto a stretched performance type material, and let's make more money off of these sales rather than less. I mean, you look at this and it's really super nice. I mean, this is on this performance material, this nice looking design, really complex. Let's take a close-up look at this. So, as you can see, this is all set up with this polyester performance material. Here's how it looks under a black light. And, one of the things that I really wish the camera could show is how well these things really light up under a black light. It's really brighter than it looks even on the screen. But when you're looking at this in a really close-up look, you can see how this is really bonded into the material. So, and the detail is just phenomenal. I mean, something you wouldn't even think about trying to cut and weed. And this gives you that ability to do these really complex designs, create something that really bonds tight with the shirt. So that was the neon pink. This product is available in about 20 different colors. You've got quite a number of metallics, gold and silver, but all the way into a lilac and a red and a green metallic. You've got a variety of neon colors, neon yellow, pink, green, orange. You've got your staple products like your white and black that are commonly used for name tags or things like that. And then your regular colors like your cyan, magentas, and things like that. And look at the detail. I mean, the detail that you can do with these is just phenomenal. I mean, this gives you the ability to use, a standard laser printer, be able to create these really complex designs and print them using these fabulous colors. Things you just never would be able to do with anything, with any kind of vinyl or any type of a color like that, or any type of a product like that. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about a couple of different printers, and these are the ones that that we sort of recommend as a great place to start. And I want to sort of point out a couple of things about them. So the first one is this little Canon printer up at the top. The reason we sort of talk about that a lot is because it's so inexpensive. You can get this printer on Amazon. It's about $80. And if you look at the box, you can see the Canon engine, because it comes in a variety of different names. I know HP sells this printer in its line. A number of the others do as well. So it's a black toner printer. It's about $80. And these inexpensive printers are really designed to sell toner. And so they put down a lot of toner, and that's exactly what we like. Then the next one I want to point out is this brother. So this particular printer is one that's in our office. And what I want to say about it is that we're using this one to reference how you probably already have a printer in your facility that you can use today with this product. I mean, I think this printer is 10, 12 years old. I mean, I don't think you would even be able to buy one now. It's so old. And yet, it's there. It's a CMYK printer. And it's something that you can get started with and use right away. Then the third printer we're going to talk about is this HP printer. And the reason that we're bringing this particular one up is sort of twofold. I mean, it's a new printer. It's this wireless printer from HP. It's a CMYK printer, so it's about $250, $300, something in that range. And but the interesting thing about it is that this one also can be used with what's called the Ghost White toner. So if you were looking to get started, if you wanted to buy a printer, you don't want to go, as cheap as the Canon, but you want to get something that maybe you can grow a little bit with, this is not a bad one to choose, because like I said, you can start off with CMYK. You can order a white toner cartridge for it to be able to do the full white toner capability. And then who knows, maybe later on move into a full-fledged white toner printer. All right, so working with these printers, what we're going to do is we'll start off doing a job with the Canon printer first. So for this, what we've got is, I've got Acrobat here, and we're just dragging this image into Acrobat, and we're ready to print this. So we're selecting our Canon printer, telling it to fit the size with this. And with this Canon printer, we're actually going to be printing on the B adhesive sheet. So we've created, this page setup for this adhesive sheet printing. So you select the heavy H as your paper settings. You want to go into the quality. You want to select this option for the advanced settings here. And then what you want to do is make sure that you go into the toner density setting and go in, and that will say do not adjust, but you want to set it to adjust and then click the details button here. And when that comes up, it's typically right in the center where you're no adjust. So you want to slide it over so that you're telling that printer to put down the full layer of toner onto your print, because we're actually going to print on the adhesive sheet. Now, the reason that we recommend, especially in the beginning, doing something like this, first of all, this is a inexpensive printer. So at $80, if anything goes wrong, there's really nothing lost. But I can tell you, we have printed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sheets through these printers, and I've never had one jam. And this is the results that you get from that. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful print, and we're ready to start working with that. So, I'm going to put the this bronze color up. So you've got, the print side of the media, that's printed on, then the adhesive side, which is where we've printed. The A sheet has the shiny side and the matte side. So what we're going to do is put these in our heat press. Now, we recommend 300 degrees. We love these swing away heat presses because they do such a great job of keeping heat down in the bottom of the press, so everything's nice and hot. And we like things to be hot. So what we recommend that you do is to look at the design, find an area where you have the most open space like this, and make sure that you put that where the where your design, where you're going to be able to get to it with your fingers. So again, your A sheet goes on the bottom, the B sheet goes on top. We cover this with our parchment sheet. We want to set our pressure to medium high. So medium high is the pressure setting when you're pressing these two together. And you're pressing it for between 90 to 120 seconds. So what's happening is that, here's this paper, here's the adhesive, here's the toner, here's our color coding, and then the clear sheet. And we're taking these and we're pressing those together. So when we ran this through the heat press, through the printer, it already bonded the toner to the adhesive. And so now when we press it in the heat press, the other side of the toner gets bonded to that coating. And while we're heating this up and pressing it, then that adhesive becomes soft and pliable. And when we peel that, the adhesive will easily peel away from the adhesive, the adhesive on the sheet will peel away from the adhesive that's bonded to the toner. The way that the no-cut principle of this works is that it's in the adhesive. So the adhesive will not stick to either this coating or this sheet, but it sticks like crazy to the toner. So that when we peel it away, it will release from the A sheet, the B sheet, the adhesive sheet, but stay on just the toner. The other thing is that the hardness of that adhesive is really high. So with the heavy hardness, it holds very tightly to even the finest detail when we're peeling it away. So let's do that here. So when we're peeling this, what we want to do is we want to get a grip down in the corner, and we want to do a very smooth, even peel. Not too fast, not too slow, just a nice, even peel. And sometimes we have a little piece that doesn't. So then after that, that is usually indicative of not quite enough pressure. So we'll run another one of these. This is our first print of the day. And so there's a little bit of the adhesive around the edge. So you want to peel that away. So the adhesive that's around the edge, if we press that on the shirt without peeling it, then that will stick to the garment and pull the design away. So we had these issues. We're going to be talking a little bit later on about some of the things that can cause issues like this, which is, not enough pressure, too much pressure, or incorrect peeling. So we'll be certain to get to those. Some of these can be resolved, some of them can't. In this particular case, this one can't. So we put our garment in. We want to press it down just to get the wrinkles out of it. We position our design, and we're covering it with the parchment sheet. And now we're pressing this at high pressure. So we put it up to high pressure. We're pressing it at high pressure for about 30 seconds. So what's happening with that is we're now pressing this down into the garment. This is heating up that adhesive so it presses in and has an opportunity to bond tightly with the garment fibers themselves. Now, after pressing it into the shirt, this is a cold peel. So we want to cool it off. And I like to kind of shake it out just a little bit to let the heat come out. Then I use this this little, it's an aluminum guardrail kind of thing, and press that on until it's just completely cold, because you want that adhesive to bond very nicely with the shirt fibers. So now when you're peeling this away, we recommend that you hold it and get a really tight roll with it and roll it off like this, just to shear that backing away from the design, from the transfer. Because if you pull it, let me show you. You hear that sound? So that's the sound. If you're shearing it, you won't hardly hear anything at all. So if you're doing it correctly, then you're shearing it away like this. And you get a really nice result. Now, some of these, some of the backing to that will stick or will come off. That would just simply brush off. What we commonly use is just a piece of tape like this. And then just press this down, and that pulls all that loose detail off of your design. That would all just come right off in just brushing it, literally. But this just cleans it up very nicely for you. Because anything that doesn't have the adhesive behind it isn't going to stay on the design anyway. So this is just a way to, pull those bits off like that. So another nice thing about these intricate designs like that is that even when you have a little piece like we had earlier that you really don't even notice it. And that's something that you would certainly would in a conventional vinyl sense. Now, if you were here and you could run your fingers across this, you would feel a little bit of a texture that shows you where the design is versus the shirt. Because the reason why is that the foil sheet, that transparency sheet that we've pressed this on with, itself is a high density. That's part of the process of keeping the heat in to make this work. So it really doesn't let the design go deep into the shirt, when you first peeled it away. So therefore, for maximum durability and for the softest feel, what we recommend is that you put it back into the heat press. Cover it up with a piece of parchment and press it again for another 15, 20 seconds. What this does is that it really, fully melts that adhesive and really presses everything down into the shirt. It's like 12 micron thick. So you're talking about a really thin layer of color that's on the garment. As compared to like vinyl, which would be anywhere from 20 to 40 microns. So you can see why this is such a such a soft feel. I mean, you can now, there's no, there's no really way to tell where the design and the shirt differ because they're right there. Let's try and take a really close look at this so you can sort of see. I've got a little microscope set up here. Let me just kind of zoom in so you can see how this is just really integrated in with this shirt. See how it's pressed right down into the shirt, right into the shirt fibers. So this is what gives it, this real stretchability. So if I'm taking this and I'm stretching it, you can see how, let me get another area over here where it's even easier to see maybe. So here I'm stretching this and you can see this really has a nice bond on the shirt to give you really nice durability in your final result. All right, nice. Okay, so now with the next printer that we're working with is we're using that Brother printer, and in this case we've installed the free software GIMP. So we've opened up this similar type of an printer or print design, and we're working with it in GIMP. So the first thing we want to do is flip it because we're going to print on the A sheet this time. So we've got to mirror the image. After we've flipped it, since we're printing on a CMYK printer, we actually want to print this in a color mode so that the printer has the opportunity to put down the most amount of toner that it can. And then when we're ready to print, again, this is going to this really old CDW Brother printer. So when your paper settings, media type is important. So we've got glossy if transparency is an option, and you want to feed these through the manual feed tray. So you want to, every chance you get, you want to use the manual feed tray for printing these transparency sheets. And we're going to print this as a color job. And we want to tell it to fit the page so it prints the full sheet. Then there's some profiles. We recommend actually that you create a profile so that you go in and put in all of the settings and then go back and save that as a profile so that you have your own, your own named profile with that job. So here we're going to load in the that A sheet. So we're printing on the matte side of the A foil. And here's our print. All right. So blue metallic is the color for this time. We're going to put this together with the adhesive. Again, we put the print side down. We want to put it down to where we have an area that we can grab onto it, cover it with the adhesive, and set our pressure to medium. And we're pressing it again. So at this time, now we've applied the toner to the pigment to start with. So it's the same process. We're going to, press these two together, and the adhesive is then going to bond to the other side of the toner. So you can see, that it really doesn't matter whether we're printing on the B sheet or we're printing on the A sheet. It's the same process, the same results in both cases. These go together. They're pressed about 300 degrees for 90 to 120 seconds. And then when you peel it away, the adhesive sticks to where the toner is and peels away from it. So in a moment, we're also going to be covering some questions in regards to how some of these different designs can work. What are some of the things that you can do with this that maybe you can't do with vinyl? One of those being these really complex designs. We've got some examples of those. Here's one here that's got this really super fine detail type of things. The capabilities of this are really amazing, especially considering the inexpensive printers that you can use it with. Okay, so we'll let this run down just a little bit. Again, a nice even peel. All right, beautiful. So there's our print. This is just a scratch of the media. This is perfect. Everything is covered. The adhesive, nice. So again, remember that we have, grab my scissors here. You always plan on this little bit. I'm gonna bring this up so you can kind of see. You see that white right on the corner right there. So if you leave that white on that corner, then that's going to press onto your shirt, and you're going to have a little box around your shirt. So you just always plan that there's going to be that white around the edge, so that you're always trimming around the edge, all four edges of your design. You want to get in the habit of doing that because, for example, let's say you're using the white Flexsoft. Well, you really don't see that white at all on that white shirt. I mean, on the white background. All right, so I've got the bronze on the front side of this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my piece of parchment down, and we're going to decorate the back side of this shirt. Oh, and one of the other things I wanted to mention is the kinds of shirts, sometimes can make a little bit of a difference. I mean, you can see here, we love these Fruit of the Loom HD cotton shirts. The thread, the weave, the really tight weave that this shirt has does such a beautiful job of giving you really long-lasting durability. And now I'm going to show you a little trick here. You see this little white piece down here? That's from something that was on my heat press. And if you had left the white around the edge of a sheet, you'd have something like this as well. We recommend you put a little piece of thermal tape right over the top of it, just like that. And then cover this all with the parchment sheet. And we're now back up to high pressure. And we're pressing this again, 30 seconds. And again, the idea is we're heating up this adhesive and we're pressing it down into the shirt so that we get a really good bond with the shirt fibers. Now we're pressing this at the same temperature of 300 degrees, all right? So then while this is hot, we grab this and peel it away, and that takes that color off of there. And then we can bring this over. Shake it out a little bit to cool it off. Because you want these to be really nice and cold. In production, you would simply just throw these in a stack and come back to them later. So you can, do each of the steps individually for all of the shirts that you're going to work on. That way, that gives you the ability to overlap some of your steps and achieve even higher levels of production. Now, again, I want to point out the common problem that people will have is that they'll try and pull this away. And I'm just going to try and demonstrate this a little bit more here so you can see. If you're hearing that sound, then you're pulling it. And that pulling, especially with this really fine detail, cannot, can sometimes pull some of the design off the shirt. So what we want to do is we want to roll it. And if you, once you, so you don't hear anything. So the difference between that and that. And so if you're working like this, then you're shearing this design away versus, that. So this is a key piece to getting the best possible result, is this really tight roll. That gives you really nice, beautiful results every time. All right. So again, we have our bronze on one side and our blue metallic on the other. Has that, kind of a rough feel to it right now because it's sitting up high on the garment. So we put it back in. Covering it with our parchment sheet and high pressure for another 20, 30 seconds, really pressing it down into the garment. This gives you your best durability, your best longevity when you've really pressed it that second time, and it makes a big difference. And you can press it, but we're pressing it here with this parchment sheet, but you can also use these glossy sheets. So you can, I don't know if you can tell this, but that glossy sheet will give you a nice glossy finish if that's what you want to have. So it'll pick up, the finish of whatever your final pressing sheet is. So again, here's this really nice looking results. I just throw this back down. Well, that's fine. We're good. And you notice with this one, everything even came off. I didn't even have to put the tape on it to get all of the design off. So it's a beautiful job. Okay, so now let's look at something that's a little bit more complex. A lot of people will work with some larger size designs, and we typically find that these really large designs will create kind of a heavy hand to it. And there's some ways that we can do with that. So let's take a look at working with this. Here we're in Photoshop, and I've taken this design that has a lot of coverage. So it has there's a lot of coverage with that design, as you can see. So our friends at Forever have put up on that black toner site and we okay? There we go. Sorry about that. So our friends at Forever have put up on this on the black toner site. If you go into their support link, if you go over to downloads, there's a lot of great tools, a lot of great information on the site. So you have the how to rasterize images in Photoshop instruction sheet for that. You have this how to add vintage effects instruction sheet there. And then they have these vintage textures. So for this particular design, we're going to use this particular texture here. So we click on that and we download this. It's a Dropbox link. We download this to our local machine. And then once we've done that, we simply take that and we drag and drop it into Photoshop. Now here we want to make sure that we set it up to rasterize it for whatever the size of our image is. So we make sure that we've set it up to cover, as much of the areas we want to work with. So to use this, we go in and we select all and we copy that. Then if we go down in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, we can click on the layer mask button, and that adds that layer mask to the image. We hold down the Alt key and we left click on that, and that opens up the layer mask. and then we can paste this texture into that field. We select the transform option so that we can scale it, rotate it, position it, do whatever we want to get it to cover the area in the way that we want it to be covered. Then we deselect that to apply it. Then you click back onto your main image, and voila, you've got it. It's applied. And so this is, this gives it that distressed look that, that'll lessen the feel, soften the hand, and, it's something that a lot of people really like. So now to print this, the first thing that we want to do is mirror it, because we're going to be printing this on the A sheet itself. And then we're printing this to the little HP printer. So we just set it up for size, the scale to fit, send it over to the HP printer. And there's our print. So here it is. So let's take a real close look at this under the microscope so you can kind of see, what we're talking about here. So you can tell with this that, this is a heavy print, and you can see, the colors in the toner. So this is black, cyan, magenta, yellow. So this creates this nice heavy coating of toner, and you can see the distress, the real complex nature of this design. All right, so let's press this. Again, we've got our A sheet and the B adhesive sheet. We want to be sure that we pick a corner where we can grab it for ease of peeling. Position our adhesive sheet on top of it. Cover this with our parchment paper. And again, we've got our pressure set high, so we want to turn it back to this medium position. And we're pressing this again for 90 to 120 seconds. So while that's pressing, let's look at some things that, kind of help us to understand where things can go wrong with this process. One of the early mistakes that's made is doing something on the wrong side. You either print on the wrong side or you're pressing on the wrong side. And this is just a common, oh man, what was I thinking kind of mistake. In this particular case, this B sheet is actually still usable. Unfortunately, the A sheet is not, because it's the toner spread out. This one, we're pressing it without enough pressure. So this A sheet has a matte finish to it, as does the B. And if you don't apply enough pressure, then that toner doesn't get a chance to really press into that matte finish. And so you won't get a good bond on both sides. So while you don't want to have too much pressure, it's also very important that you've got enough pressure. Now, in this particular case, we got a couple of things that are going wrong. One is that you can see he's kind of lifted this up, and the air is able to get underneath the edge of this, and he's peeling it too slow. So this is causing it to cool down too quickly, and so too much of that adhesive is bonding to the A sheet. And there's really no way to fix that one. So you got to peel it, without going too fast. So this is what happens when you peel too fast. And there's varying degrees of peeling too fast. This is kind of an extreme example of it in terms of how it can pull, either the toner or the coating away. All right, so coming back to this one. So we want to peel this nice and steady. All right. And we trim these edges. And we're ready to apply it to our garment. And we recommend, using these textures, these distressed looks. They just make it so nice and soft on the fabric. It really dramatically increases your overall durability. And then we're high pressure, about 15, 20 seconds to press it into the garment. Michael, how are we doing? Anybody got any questions that we want to ask about at this point?
There we go. Now I'm off of mute. All right. So there are a few questions here that have been coming through. Couple of them. One of the main ones that I've been seeing come through is how long does this product actually last once it's been pressed on the shirt, and wash cycles and things like that, David?
Yeah. Okay. So excellent. I have right over here. I'm gonna put this shirt over here. Let it be cooling down just a moment, and we're ready to talk just about exactly that, because that's a real common question. We get that quite often. So what we've done is that we set up these wash tests, and I won't go through the whole video series that we have, but what we've done is we've created these shirts. We've attached these labels to the shirts. We've actually sewn them on so that we can mark them and keep track of the washing. And this is something that we have as an ongoing piece, and we can show the full video at some time where you can see how we're doing this. Literally, I've taken these home, I've run them through the washer, and for every one of the shirts or the types of media that we're testing, we actually do 4 shirts. So we have, let's see, let me just set these down and I'll pull them up one at a time. So the first one is the control shirt. So this one hasn't been in the washing machine. So the front side of it has the metallics. The back side has the colors. All right, then let's see, the next one in the group. All right, so here it is this one. This one, as you can see, has the light wash, and if you can see here the marks, it's been through 15 times. All right, so there's 15 marks on that where we're keeping track of, we're keeping track of the results. So what's a light wash? So the manufacturer's recommended washing instructions are that you take the shirt, you turn it inside out, you wash it in cold water, and you let it drip dry. So that's exactly what we've done with this shirt. All right. Then the next one, again, this is, here's our tag on it here, which is medium wash. Same thing, everything on this one. Medium wash is what we figure is a normal wash. So this is running the garment right side out through a warm water wash and a warm cycle in the dryer to do a full dry on it. Then the third one, as you can see here, and it's literally has washed off even the permanent ink with this. This is the heavy wash. So this is running it through the hot wash cycle with a full spin cycle, and then a full hot dry for the full period. So this is the worst possible case. So let's do this. Let's come over here and let me peel this one, and then I'll put those down right here and we'll show you the results on this side. So again, we're going to do this nice tight roll to separate this from the garment. All right, look at that. And then I'll show you in just a moment. We'll take a real close look up on that so you can see how this looks. I'll show you this under the microscope before and after pressing so you really can get a sense of what's going on with that. Okay, so let's look at our shirts. To answer your wash question, so again, this one is the control. So you can see, you know, everything is, it looks really nice. I mean, this is, you know, hasn't been anywhere near a washing machine, so you can see what we're talking about, all right? So now the next one that we're going to put down here is the, is the light wash. So there's our light wash set. So it's been through 15 times using manufactured recommended instructions. And this looks, I mean, you know, well, let's flip this over to this side, and we'll just try and compare these a little bit for you here so you can kind of see. And, you know, if you can see that, I don't think you'd see any difference. I don't think you'd tell any difference between one or the other. And that's what, you know, that's kind of what we have anticipated, that, you know, you follow the manufacturer's recommended instructions, you're going to get beautiful, beautiful results. So the next one, this is what people normally do. You know, this is a normal wash cycle. So again, 15 times through, regular wash cycle. And look at that. Check this out. Tell me you see a difference, huh? Tell me you can see a difference. I mean, there's not one. There's really not a difference. Normal wash cycle, look at that. All right, especially in the case of the metallics. Metallics are incredible in terms of their durability. So in the colors, let's look through the normal cycle on the colors. Look at that, all right? I mean, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. The only one that we've noticed that you start to see, and you probably can see this too, is that this yellow is a little bit less bright than this yellow. So the yellow in the normal wash cycle, so the blue's great, the green is great, just the yellow. So in here, you can see a difference. The red looks very nice, all right? So now let's look at the heavy wash cycle. This is hot wash, hot, dry, full time. This is as bad as it gets. 15 times through, heavy wash cycle, and it's freaking amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So check this out, all right? These metallics have been through a heavy wash cycle, and look at that. I mean, buddy, that's you wouldn't expect anything better than that. I mean, you really wouldn't, to look at that. So now let's look at the colors. So in the heavy wash cycle, let's see what happens with the colors. All right, so we see a little bit of a breakup in the whites. Everything is great with the black. Little bit of breakup with the neons. Not bad at all. I mean, really not bad at all. Again, the worst case is yellow. So yellow, now red as well is starting to show a little bit of wear. So the yellow and the red are the ones green looks great, blue looks great. So the yellow and the red, even in the heavy wash cycle, those are the only ones that start to show any kind of wear. So with any kind of proper treatment, you're going to get virtually permanent results. And even with really worst case treatment, you're going to get excellent results with this. So again, here's this one that we did. And I want to show this one before we press it here so you can get a real close-up look of it and can kind of see how the design sort of sits up really high on the garment. That silver is what we're looking at. And see all this really super fine detail. I mean, these really, you know, fine detail pieces are just crazy. You never do this with vinyl. So we put this back in. We cover this with our parchment sheet in high pressure, 20, 30 seconds. Any other questions?
Yeah, David, there is a couple other questions here. So regarding those cover sheets that you had mentioned with the parchment papers, I know you showed there was a glossy sheet. Is that a Teflon sheet or is that something else?
Oh, geez, I wish that question had come up a little bit a couple of seconds earlier. I would have pressed this, because this actually would have been a nice design to use with this. But this is the Forever Anti-Static Glossy Sheet. So it has this glossy finish, and it would give, you know, a glossy finish to the final design, which on these metallics actually kind of looks pretty nice.
Will Teflon sheets work, or is that something separate?
Yeah, you can use pretty much anything. And you know, if I'll tell you an interesting thing. I used some paper that had kind of like a I don't know if you'd call it a holographic type of a coating on it. And when you press it, I actually got that holographic result in the final pressing. So
That's
whatever.
cool. So you got the actual swirl pattern kind of relayed in there?
Sorry?
You actually had the swirl pattern from the holographics actually?
Yeah. It was in the result. It was really cool looking. So whatever, you know, whatever the texture is that's in the paper that you're pressing it with is going to get imparted to your final design. So it gives you the ability to really do some really creative stuff. So let's take a really close-up look at this. This will blow you away, all right? So see, look at that. So before, you know, you see how this is really pressed right into the garment. Let me see if I can maybe get my focus just right on here. Yeah, okay, I can get it off. Uh-oh. There you go. Yeah. Look at that. So this is, you know, this is really pressing it down. You would never see this with vinyl. You would never see this with vinyl. So, you know, that's the really nice thing about this, you know, 8, 9, 10 micron finish that we're working with, is that it literally bonds right into the textile fabric, the threads in your garment, to give you this really super, and this is what I was talking about, these HD shirts. You know, they have such a really tight weave material that they just hold the design so nicely. And then again, this with this stretching, so here I can stretch this, and you know, you get, pull it over here where you can see, but you know, the stretching, and it just stretches so nicely, you know, with the fabric. Trying to get my fingers as much in the way as I possibly can, but you can see this is really, really tightly pressed right into the garment, and that's what gives you this really nice, long-lasting results. So this is, you know, this is really in there. You know, this is really nice-looking results, a nice-looking design. You know, the distressed look makes it look so much nicer than just trying to put it on with a, with just a big piece of plastic. And now this will breathe better, have a nicer feel with it, nicer durability with it. All right, Michael, any other questions?
Yeah, there's two other ones if we could just touch base on. And one actually kind of has to do with similar to how we're discussing. You had mentioned the holographics before, but I know you and I have talked about this, but can you maybe express to everybody how many foils would work as a specialty item that could work with the Forever FlexSoft?
Say that one more time.
Yeah, could you let everybody know a little bit how you could use a foil, like a roll of foil, like the 50-foot rolls of foil and stuff, how that would work?
So if you're going to work with foil, and you can certainly do that.
Yeah, we had a couple of requests asking about if you could have special, like if you could actually apply a holographic to the material. I think we just lost your voice.
Foils, huh? Yeah, so if you're going to work with hot stamping foils, then what you want to do is you want to use the laser dark material and not the FlexSoft. So hot stamping foils will not stick to the FlexSoft, but you would simply get the clear laser dark material. Thank you. And you could then print your design in black. So again, using the black toner. And then, so this would go on as a black design, and then you would cover it with the hot stamping foil, and then that would, the foil will stick, and I don't know, maybe the overhead cam might be a easier way to sort of see this, but you can see here the way that, that this kind of blends in these really super tiny sized dots. So this is where the hot stamping foil is going to stick to where the toner has been applied to the design. All right.
Very cool. And one last question of stuff that if we could just touch on real quick. This had actually come in by email. How would you separate, with some of these specialty kind of things and stuff that you can, the number of things you can do with this kind of product? Is it possible that you could separate part of an image in Photoshop and then rip different components of that image separately and then combine them on the shirt?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's a question that we actually hear a number of times. And, it's a question that has one of these yes or no answers to it. Let me think. All right, here's an example. So let's say that, that we've got a design, like, say it's got some text across the top that says "World's Greatest," and then there's a photograph of the old guy like me, and then down at the bottom is some text that says "Grandpa." All right, so "World's Greatest Grandpa" with a photo in the middle. A lot of people don't want to do the rasterization, and without going into a great bit of detail right now of what rasterization is, suffice it to say it's putting some kind of texture or holes or lines to break up the image. And maybe they're using something like the transfer rip with the laser dark material on a white toner printer, and they've used the rasterization option to rasterize a design. And it gives it nice feel. It breaks it up much like that that one that we just did with that texturizing effect. But when you do that, when you run that whole design through the transfer rip, then it rasterizes everything. So the text and all. And maybe they don't want the text rasterized. Well, what you would do is that you would open up that artwork and you'd save 2 copies of it. One copy is just the text. The other copy is just the image. And then you would say, for example, print the text through the transfer rip onto your transfer sheet using the screening from printer setting so that it prints as a solid. Then kind of taking a page out of the Ghost Toner book where we're running things through the printer twice, we take that same print, we load it back into the printer, and we print it a second time with the photograph of old granddad, and we turn on the raster masking for dark garment which pulls out the dark colors, rasterizes the image. And as long as we're working within tolerances, where things don't have to exactly fit next to each other, we'll get good placement of that on that second pass through. And then we press those together and apply them to the garment, and you've got what you're asking for.
Very cool.
Hey, let me show you some examples. I'm going to switch back to some of the stuff that we've got here in the on our wall, just to sort of point out a couple of things. Here's a design that's done with the neon colors, got a lot of detail to it. Here's an example of a design, Muhammad Ali with the FlexSoft red being applied to that. This example here has the FlexSoft gold as the edges around, and then it's filled inside with the colors. This one is using the FlexSoft lilac metallic for the design, the FlexSoft silver for the highlights and the glasses, and then the laser dark with the color inside the eyes. This example, this is a really nice one. This has the FlexSoft silver, it has the neon orange, and then the laser dark with from the white toner for the shoes. I can show you, it's a shame that you really can't see this under a black light, but I think you can kind of see how this lights up. And that's that neon. Now, when you're seeing this with the camera, you see the blue from the black light because the camera picks that up. My eyes don't. I don't see that blue at all. The only thing I see is that orange really popping and lighting up like it's on fire. So that's the nice thing about these neon colors. This is a really complex design, things that you would never, even try and do. I'll run through a few of these shirts. Here's one where we've done with the white. This is another one of these performance materials with that the FlexSoft metallic. This is that shoe one I was just showing you a minute ago, so you can really kind of see that. This is a pretty cool shirt here. Let me show you this. So what we did with this shirt was that, we created these, oh, sorry, wrong side. We created these QR codes, and we printed them on the shirt, and then we actually scanned these with the camera. They did great. So we actually came up with this cool idea of, why don't you just make a tag yourself that goes inside of your shirt. So this QR code, if you scan that, that'll take you right to the site where your washing instructions is located. Just clip off the tag that comes with the shirt, put your own in there, and take advantage of marketing on your, for your work. Here's some more. Let me get these up here. I'll just quickly run through these. I know we're pretty much running out of time here.
Hey, David, can you just explain maybe a little bit to people how that layered component would work for doing multicolors?
Yeah, so, well, this is a good example here. If you're trying to layer FlexSoft, there's a couple of things that you need to take into consideration. One is that, this is an opaque media, so you really can't see through it. So you won't really be able to do really tight tolerance layering of items right next to each other. So you want to make sure that you design the artwork so that you have the ability to position things without having to be exactly, in one specific spot. Secondly, when you're doing it, you also want to layer with your most opaque color. So like, for example, if I was going to do something that's going to use, say this metallic blue with one of the neon colors, okay? Well, I'd put the metallic blue down first because it's absolutely opaque. I can't see through this at all. But then I would put the neon color down next because you can kind of see a little bit through the neon color to get it positioned. if you're doing something like this, so here's the Flexsoft bronze, and this is the Flexsoft silver, and this is the Flexsoft red. So we put these down first on the design, and then these are done using the laser dark, and the laser dark is a transparent sheet, so I can position that, with ease to exactly fit. And yes, you can have as many layers as you want. Layers can stack on top of each other. I mean, this is an example of the red that just goes down on top of this silver picture. And here's a great example of just really super complex designs. I mean, look at that. This is the Flexsoft silver, and this is using the line rasterization function. It's crazy. So things that you just couldn't do before, you can do now. Oh, yeah, he's green. Here's Havana. So this is, you can, if you look here, you can tell that the silver went down first, and then the color just went down right on top of it. So this is the silver hat. So it's easy to position the color right on top of these because this piece is clear, whereas this silver and this gold are not. Then your basic pieces there.
Is there any limits to how many layers you can put down, David?
Not really. I mean, the nice thing about it is that, it all sticks together. So there's no problem with doing that. There's no trouble in multiple presses. You can press this stuff as many times as you want. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's recommended to help improve durability is to tell your users that, after you've washed this a few times, just take a baking sheet and a hot iron and iron it. And that'll re-heal it. It reflows everything back together. It helps to improve the durability. So you can press it as many times as you want. So, there's really no limit to it.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
I think that would be the majority of them there. Actually, you know what? There is one last one. So if somebody's going to be stocking this in their shop, is there any sort of humidity or shelf life for, unprinted?
Yeah, good question. So it's a two-part media. So you've got this foil sheet and you've got the A sheet, which is the paper. So this sheet can absorb humidity. That's the one thing that you want to avoid. This one is fine, no problem at all. This one is, when you buy this, it comes sealed in a plastic bag. As long as you keep it sealed in that bag and try and keep it, as controlled in humidity, it'll last forever. I mean, pun on words for sure, but a case in point, one of the guys in the White Toner Success Group, there was a company that had bought some several years ago. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago that they bought some media. They closed out that division. They wanted to sell it. This guy was like, yeah, okay, it's 3 or 4 years old. Should I buy it? He did. He got a really good deal on it, and he's not had a problem one with it. So, I mean, as long as you keep it dry, or, if you let it get moist, you want to dry it out. You want to put it in with something that's going to pull the humidity back out of it, and you're good to go. So there's really not much in the way of a shelf life issue with any, with just that one humidity issue to be careful with.
Awesome. Well, hey,
any other questions?
Thank you for hitting up those questions and stuff. That would be, that's the queue of questions I've got for you.
All right. So, if you, when you're working with a product like this, you have the opportunity to do some of these really crazy kinds of things. If you're a narcissist like me and you want to be able to create, some kind of a design like that, then you need a good deal, don't you? Well, we got one for you.
There you go. Yeah. Well, like David said, we have a great deal for you. So everybody that's been in this webinar, you are the only ones that are going to be eligible for this 15% off. That's going to be valid until March 25th. Just head over to www.totalinkSolutions.com, and you can, under the heat transfer section, or in the search bar, just type in Forever. Products will come up, and during checkout, just use code Forever19, and you'll get that 15% discount.
Be sure you do it right away. Look at this. All
2
right.
weeks, March 25th. It'll be here before you know it.
All right. So this is really a great deal. I mean, 15% off. That's big. That's huge. That is huge. So we really advise everybody to take advantage of this. We put it up here in neon lights for you, so you can really make sure you see it. All right.
That is a nice little touch there, David. I applaud you on that.
Total Ink Solutions, 15% off. Forever 19 is your code. Forever 19. So everybody, hurry over, stock up now. This is big. This is big.
If anybody has any further questions or anything after this webinar, if you head over to our website, www.totalinksolutions.com, there's a little chat icon right there in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm on there personally. You guys can reach me anytime you want and stuff through that chat system, or you can send an email over to me at msavino, it's MSAVINO at totalinksolutions.com, and I can get back to you via email, or, like I said, hit me up on that chat.
Oh, I was Michael, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys. Tremendous shout out to everybody who attended this event. And if you got any final questions or anything, head over to the White Toner Success Group on Facebook, and you'll find me there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank you again for everybody that attended today. This has been a really great presentation of the Forever FlexOff product. And David, I know we'll be discussing setting up further webinars and stuff. Maybe we'll do another one next month, and maybe we can do the Forever Laser Dark.
All right. That sounds great. Appreciate it, Michael. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.